don't know exactly what it is I want to say. I've recorded 2 videos that I haven't posted that I'm probably not going to post because feelings change so quickly. And it's not that they weren't genuine, they just don't feel genuine now. Or they feel irrelevant, but of course nothing is really important. None of that really matters. There's been a lot of hopelessness. This morning, I could feel it coming on, so it seems to kind of ebb and flow. For the most part, it feels like I am drifting in an ocean. And there are times when I'm pulled under, or there are waves crashing over me or something. And then there are times when the waves calm and I'm able to sort of just float on the surface. And there's a peace in that. But I'm never not in the ocean. Does that make any sense? It's like I've left land behind. I don't know that I will ever see land again. There's no grounding here. It's just I'm floating. Everything feels kind of weird because if you're a land-based creature and you've lived on land your whole life and now you're out to sea, all of the orientation that you've developed over years and years and years is confused. And so I'm just here, I'm on this ocean. Part of the time I'm floating. A significant portion of the time I am pushed under or just racked by these waves, and there's a feeling of drowning. There's a feeling of scrambling for something to hold on to, and there's nothing to hold on to. And a deep and pervasive hopelessness. I want to experience this. The mind struggles. The mind struggles with it. Certainly. And in the most intense moments, it appears to be just screaming at me, glaring at me, saying, "What are you doing? You've done this to yourself. Why have you done this to yourself? This is wrong. Everything you are doing is wrong, and you need to stop. You have to stop this. You need to get some help. You need to find a way. You need to make a change. You need to make this end. This is not okay." That's what it says. This is not okay. You're creating this suffering, and it's wrong, and why are you doing this to yourself? And it's, are you some kind of masochist? This is just some broken trauma response in you, whatever. You need therapy, you need help, you need drugs, you need whatever you need to get out of this. And it's terrified, and it's blameful and shameful. And I am endeavoring not to do anything. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I just have this inclination that at this point I am choosing to trust, and I can feel sexually there's emotion with this. I thought I might start crying for a moment there, because I'm realizing that I'm choosing to trust myself in my choice to experience this and not try to change it. Because the mind would have me believe that this is a mistake, that that I am in fact being driven by some unconscious programming of ego, actually, that I am sabotaging myself, that I'm working against myself, that there must be some other reason that I'm choosing to go through this that is actually deeply egoic, and it's just going to end up hurting me more. And so it casts all of this doubt around my choice to experience intense depression. And not do anything about it. Not try to get away from it. Not try to change it. And I just keep coming back to this awareness that I want this. And maybe some part of me does think it's going to accomplish something. That's certainly possible. But more ravenously than anything, I just feel, and this is a lot of what I was expressing before, I feel this kind of fierce protectiveness over this experience and this sensation, and it's maybe some part of me does believe that it's going to do something for me. I'm not going to, again, deny that that's possible. That's certainly possible. And I'm trying to maintain an awareness of that as well, to notice if at any point there is a thought that says this is special and this is meaningful and important because it's going to do something, that somehow I am special for experiencing this, that this is a special depression, and it could be used, it could be added to my identity as something to actually lift me above in some way. I think that's a pelican. What the hell? I don't know if I've ever seen a pelican in Colorado. That was interesting. Lots of cranes, herons, that kind of thing, but I'm pretty sure that was a pelican. Anyway, yes, I will be looking into pelicans because I'm curious now. But yeah, I know that it is easy. It would be easy for the mind to again make this into a trial, make this into a test that I am undergoing because of my worthiness, that kind of thing. A test that has to do with the purification of my spirit and the whatever, and use big words like ascension and awakening and divine union and this and that. I'm aware that the mind is constantly grasping for purpose. And purpose and use are like the same to the mind. Because it's one thing to have an intention, to just say this is what I intend, and I do think that there is a sort of purpose in terms of I do believe I intended to experience certain things in this lifetime. That was an intention. So it could be called a purpose, that I came, into this particular form and time, space, and experience to have certain experiences. And so that's kind of a purpose, but it's all driven by desire. It's not really changing anything. It's not like elevating me in some way. I'm not going to become more or more better or more special or more of anything because of my choice and desire to experience what I am. It's just it's curiosity. It's curiosity and desire. It's just, I want to experience this. This is available in terms of the realm of experience. I want to try that out because I want to know what it's like. It's more that kind of intention, and so purposeful experiencing. And I think that's the purpose that I wish to embody, is purposeful experiencing. So the experience itself, I shouldn't have gone behind this truck, oh well. The experience itself doesn't serve a purpose beyond experiencing it, right? There's not some other end that I'm reaching for. There's not some goal that I'm trying to achieve. It is just my intention is to experience this, and so I'm going to experience on purpose. So on purpose as opposed to for a purpose, if that makes sense. And that is perhaps why I don't know, feel so fiercely about this experience, this depression, this opening, this chasm of hopelessness when it comes, what feels like being pulled underwater and really just drowning and having nothing to hold on to. I feel strongly the desire to have this experience, and so there's a protectiveness over it, over my having of it, my experiencing of it, that says, no, I don't want it to go away. This is what I want. I want to feel this, and no, I'm not wanting to feel this because it's going to take me somewhere. The scenery will change because scenery changes, I know that, but I want to be in this feeling. I want to be in this experience. I'm doing this on purpose. I am purposefully sitting here because I want to. Because I want to feel this, and I will not be talked out of it. That's where this like rage kind of comes up. Of again, it's just, I would call it protective more than defensive. Yeah. Anyway. And I feel a bit bad because I kind of chased it away this morning. And I honestly feel not good about that. I mean, it sort of just happened. I was feeling the hopelessness. I was feeling the pit opening up. And just exploring. I was not super open to it. Honestly, I was resisting it a fair amount. But I was exploring. So, what stories are related to this? What story, if I dive into this feeling and I ask what story it feels like, what and the first thing it said was, I will never feel happy again. I will never be happy again, because it still uses that language too. And so that was curious. first of all, to say, okay, what does that like, really, what does that mean? What does it mean to be happy? And then it became, I'll never feel good again. And then I'm just kind of going, okay, yeah, that feels pretty rough to to believe the story, I will never feel good again. That's hopeless. Yeah, that feels hopeless. That feels pretty dark and heavy. And I'm aware that it's a story, but that's not changing this experience. And I do want to, I can't accept the story, because there's really not anything there to accept. It's a story. There's no, substance to it. This is just a statement. But I can't accept the feeling that this creates, because I am feeling it, and this feeling is real. So I am accepting this feeling, but I have this awareness now of this being a story that is creating the feeling, and there's no judgment there of that being bad or a mistake. This is just an experience. And then I asked a little bit more about it, and the next statement was, this will never change. Things will never change. Nothing will ever change. And that was harder to believe. Something started to happen there, which was just, well, I know that's so not true that I don't know if I can even keep believing this now. Because things are constantly changing. Things are changing all the time. And then I started to kind of lose touch with the sensation of hopelessness, because suddenly I wasn't really believing this story the same way. And immediately I had this reaction of, oh no, I've made it go away. Oops, I was there, I was in it, and I was like wanting to be in it. And then the story said something that for a moment wasn't, I lost the belief in it, or suspensive disbelief. And then it just caved. It just like went poop. And I didn't feel a whole lot of anything at that moment, but it just like the hopelessness kind of faded. It sort of closed off, and I felt the tension in my chest disappear, and I was honestly slightly annoyed with myself, which sounds crazy. But yeah, like I kind of made it go, and I felt a little bad because I don't want to make it go. But also it just sort of went on its own, and that's fine too. And what I was also recognizing in retrospective reflection and talking with my partner about this experience, because we're both feeling a lot of this actually, and I think there's a dog shitting in the middle of the street. That's great. We're both feeling a lot of this similar despair and hopelessness, which I think is fascinating, that we're both going through this same journey. I don't know, we're journeying the same part of the landscape. We're traveling the same part of the landscape at the same time. Anyway, I was talking about it and recognizing that so this whole I'll never feel good again, I could sense that it had to do with, so rewinding a little bit, there was a sense that I have no desire. I couldn't get in touch with desire. It was like, there's nothing that I want. There's nothing to be wanted. There's no joy in anything. So why am I wanting? And I don't want anything. Like a really apathetic and hedonic, I think that's the word, sense of just there's nothing is giving pleasure. Nothing is giving joy. And so I became aware then that, okay, so this is the mind is looking out at the world and recognizing that there isn't joy in anything, which is true. There isn't joy in anything. Joy is something that arises from me. The world is not the source of joy, in other words. Nothing outside of me, and certainly not things, like the way of being, I would call things, the form of being. There's no joy in the things. There's no joy in the forms. And so the mind is realizing this and becoming very depressed about that as well, and saying, then there's no joy for me in this world. I will never feel joy again, it says, because I am realizing that things don't make me happy. Nothing makes me happy. So according to the mind, that means I will never be happy. I'll never feel happiness. If things no longer make me happy, then I will never feel happiness. And yeah, there's a truth to that. There's a truth to that. The mind is recognizing the truth that joy is not in things, and the world does not make one happy. Of course, there is a deeper sense and knowing in me of the source of joy being within. That it's something totally other from, distinct from the experiencing of form. And it has more to do with connecting with being, of course, but that's all kind of muddled, and I'm not going to try to think about it. I'm not at too much thinking. I am guilty of too much thinking most of the time, so I am endeavoring to think less and less. Anyways, I kind of need to get inside because I'm already late and I'm here. But that's it. This feels much more organic and genuine and true. And there's not a real message here, which is also pretty authentic. This is just what's happening, and I am documenting it. And I do believe that this is a natural experience. Whether or not there is something that occurs on the other side, whether or not there is another side of this, I don't want to focus on. The mind would like to find a shoreline to hold on to say we're going there, and now I can focus over there instead of here. And I do sense that, the mind will keep grasping for that, and this experience will keep returning in a way that makes it clear there's no shoreline. There's anything that the mind finds to hold on to will be removed, and it will plunge deeper and deeper into this depressive pit until it gives up. Until it abandons all hope and is finally not resistant to this experience and is just here in it with me. And I don't know what that means. I don't know how long that takes. I don't know if anything happens after that. I know the mind would like to know. The mind would like to know all of those things. But here I am. Not wanting to prolong this process, but recognizing that it will take as long as it needs to take for the mind to truly surrender to it. And that's it. And I am trying to not be looking for another side, for another angle, for a way out, to really actually sink into this experience of there is no way out, this hopeless sort of impending doom, even the wrongness of it, the wrong feeling of wrongness. I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Sorry if that blew your ears out. Anyway, I'm here. The mind craves purpose. The mind craves hope. And I think both of those, the understanding of both of those things is going to die. And there will be new understanding, a different kind of understanding that I don't know how to describe. I can sort of just sense it. Like I can sense this thing growing. I don't know what this seed becomes, if anything, necessarily. But there's a new growth happening. I know that. And I know that it's a very natural thing too. It is. Growth happens. Growth is inevitable. Growth is not a thing that takes work or effort. It happens when the time is right. I mean, you could say, well, it takes the right conditions, but the conditions also happen on their own. They're a part of all the happenings. And the conditions align for the growth when it's wanted, when it wants to happen, when that experience is desired. That's it. That when the experience is desired, the conditions align for the experience. And the growth that is that experience. So anyway, that's it. I love you. Take it easy.